Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Favi, and welcome to Arrow's DIY. On my channel, I love creating Dollar Tree DIYs, high-end dupes, thrift flips, and the occasional trash to treasure. Here's another episode in my Christmas series, and today I'm co-hosting the Frosted Christmas collaboration, Ellie Decor. So it's hosted by Michelle of Moxie DIY and Java, Ellie from DIY from House to Home, and this time we're joined by MaryBeth of MB Gray Designs, Daniela from Didi's Art Workshop, and Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY. I'll leave their links in the description box below and the playlist link for their video. You do not want to miss their frosted creations. All right, so for our first project, I took this candlestick. I'm not sure where I got this candlestick, if it was Dollar Tree or if it was thrifted. I just have a huge collection. I don't even know where they come from anymore. But I'm going to take this color by FolkArt called Wicker White, and I'm going to give this entire candlestick a coat, a full coat. And I want to be sure to get into all the nooks and crannies, because we're going to turn this candlestick into a wonderful gingerbread creation. If you're new to my channel, I am obsessed with gingerbread decor for Christmas, so let me know in the comments below if you love gingerbread decor as well. I want to make a Christmas hutch collection in my kitchen, a Christmas themed kitchen decor series, so stay tuned if you're into that, and I hope you subscribe if you're new around here. And say hi in the comments if you are, because I love saying hi to you guys. Alright, so now I'm going to take this paint in the color Coffee Latte, and I think it's a really good color for gingerbread. It still has that warm tone, but it has kind of like a burnt effect to it. Anyways, I'm going to take this large paintbrush and I'm going to dry brush with the flat end of the paintbrush. It's important that you use a flat paintbrush for this so that it only paints the flat portion and doesn't go into the beveled design. That way it looks kind of like a Christmas cookie. Now you don't have to worry about it not being perfect, because I've never seen a homemade frosted cookie look 100% perfect. But once everything is covered, mostly, you're going to go in with a smaller paintbrush and paint all of the little details. Now for the frosted, in the Frosted Christmas collab today, I'm going to add frosting to our cookie candlestick. So I'm going to go ahead and add some hot glue all around the edge of this candlestick. And you do want it to drip a little bit. Just add little extra bits of hot glue in certain spots for it to drip down. Now once it's fully dry, this is what your hot glue is going to look like. And now we're going to paint it. I'm going to give the entire candlestick another coat of the Coffee Latte color. You can use any brown you like. Last year I used a different color brown for my gingerbread decor. I can link the video here if you would like to see, actually the playlist. I could link the gingerbread decor playlist here if you'd like to see some of my gingerbread creations from last year. But basically I'm just going to go ahead and give all the candlestick another coat of this Coffee Latte color using a smaller paintbrush. So now I'm going to paint the frosting. The frosting in the same wicker white color that we started with on the candlestick. And using the same size paintbrush, just a small paintbrush. I like using a flat paintbrush with a slanted edge. That way I can get into the details around the bottom there. And if you mess up, just touch it up with the other paint color and it should be totally fine. But remember, frosted creations look cute and homemade if they're not perfect, so don't stress, just have fun creating. Now we're going to take some of these dot stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I painted a whole bunch in different colors for the next projects coming up, but I'm going to go ahead and paint some of them in that white, in the same wicker white color. And once they're nice and dry, I'm going to pop them off and take off some of the excess paint that is around the edge of the dot sticker. And then I'm just going to adhere them to the candlestick. They are kind of sticky, but you might want to add some E6000 or crazy glue for it to be more of a permanent hold. I think it would be really cute to paint these dot stickers in like a pastel color as well, if you're into the pastel gingerbread look. But anyways, I really like how this one came out. I think, well, it's my take on elegant frosted decor for Christmas. But let me know in the comments below what you think about this one. I took some red and white baker's twine I got from Amazon. I'm going to wrap it around the middle of that candlestick and just tie a simple shoestring bow. I also left the tails really long because I think that's just so adorable. And anything I use in this video, I'll try my best to link it in the description box below, because the embellishments in this video are so cute if you love gingerbread decor. Now I took this emergency candle. Dollar Tree has some too, I believe. And I'm just going to take some of this wrapping paper from Dollar Tree, and I literally have this little tiny bit left, like a little tiny piece. I don't throw anything away, and I'm going to take that and just cut it down to size. So this particular candlestick is 4 inches in length, in height, you know what I mean. And I'm just going to cut it down to fit perfectly using this paper cutter. And I'm going to use some Mod Podge. Any Mod Podge will do. I just happen to be using the dishwasher Mod Podge for this video because I'm going to have this in my kitchen, and I just feel like the dishwasher Mod Podge gives a better protection for high humidity areas of your home. The Mod Podge also takes 28 days to cure, so just keep that in mind if you're using dishwasher safe Mod Podge. I'm also going to wrap the candlestick carefully, and I'm going to wrap the wrapping paper around the candle. Very simple, but I think it's so darling for Christmas decor. Section by section, trying to keep it as flat as possible. If you're new around here, my name is Favi. I'm a creative mother of 5, and I love making home decor on a budget on my spare time. So if you love fun, unique home decor on a budget, I invite you to subscribe and join our family here on YouTube. So you see, very simple to get this candlestick done. I sealed it up completely, and then I just stuck it into the candlestick for a sweet little frosted elegant decor piece. Let me know in the comments what you think about this one. I think it's so cute. I'm not lighting this candle, but let me know what you think. For our next project, we're going to be using these toy soldiers. These nutcrackers I got at Family Dollar, and they were only $3 a piece. So I grabbed a whole bunch because I just love nutcrackers for Christmas. Let me know if you love nutcrackers for Christmas. Now this guy, apologies, but I gotta give him a little bit of a facial reconstruction. We're gonna take the needle nose pliers and just pop his nose off. Yeah, I know. It seems kind of barbaric, but he turns out so cute. So we're gonna turn this guy into a gingerbread. So I took some of the same stickers from Dollar Tree, and after I sanded off his face, we're gonna add some E6000 using a little bamboo stick, the back of the bamboo stick, and we're just gonna stick it to the center of his face. This is gonna be his new button nose. So once that is in place, I clean up the excess E6000 using the pointy tip of the bamboo stick, and then we're just going to give him a coat of paint. So I'm going to be using the same coffee latte color just to keep all my creations cohesive on my Christmas display, but you can use any brown color you like. I'm going to paint his face as well as his hands. I sped up this video because it took me about 6 hours to create everything, and I condensed it down to 20 minutes, and I tried my best. So if it's too fast for you, let me know. I could definitely make a more comprehensive, slowed down version. It's just I just didn't want to make it too slow because I appreciate your time. So if you're here, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I appreciate you guys clicking. I love creating, and I hope you love and enjoy these videos. So once I painted his face and his hands, I'm going to go ahead and take off that rifle he had attached to his body, and it was just attached by a little nail. I used a needle nose plier and just popped it off and then sanded off that little area. Then I painted his arms because I'm going to make a beautiful little frosted detail on his arms in just a bit. Now if you are painting, I'm gonna link all the paintbrushes that I use in this video, just because they're different sizes and very helpful for getting in the small spaces between under the arms and between the legs and between the shoes. So I'll link them. They're all by FolkArt, a plaid company. I am an ambassador, so I can totally link that for you. And they're actually fair priced, so it's not like they're not affordable, and they're very good quality. So I'm going to go ahead and paint his arms and his legs, as you can see. Now, it turns out I had two of these bright colored green paint colors, but I opted for the multi-surface option because it's dishwasher safe, and this is going to be in my kitchen. So the multi-surface line of the FolkArt paints are more durable for indoor and outdoor use. So if you're shopping for paint, and I always prefer going for the multi-surface option for durability. Okay, so as you can see, I painted his cuffs as well as his pants and the base of the gingerbread in that green color. And now I'm coming in with this red color for his jacket, as well as the top rim of his boots. And I'm using the color Lipstick Red, which is my favorite red color, and it's almost out. I'm gonna have to restock very soon. If you'd like to support my channel so I can buy more craft supplies, I'll leave the link for my Buy Me a Coffee account in the description box below. Any donations on that account are used to upgrade my supplies and my equipment for these videos. So as you can see, I went ahead and I painted the top of the boots and the base around his feet. Now I do the same thing for the next project. I just invert the colors. Now I'm going in with this black color called Licorice, and it has a satin finish, so it's a little bit shiny. And I took my time, and I just want you to know I did this in many sittings, so it's not like I sat down and did this the entire time. So if you feel like it's too much or your project you're messing up a lot, it might be time for a break. You can get up, walk around, come back whenever you're up to it again. And that's why I start these Christmas projects so early, because I'm still making fall projects, but it's really difficult to find the time to make all of my Christmas projects, and I want a whole gingerbread collection for my kitchen. So I appreciate you being here, and I hope you enjoy this video. All right, I'm going in with the same white paint, and I'm going to paint all around the edge, the beveled edge on the bottom base, as well as his shoulder. I cannot even remember the name of that. His shoulders and his hat as well. Now I'm going to take the same wrapping paper from Dollar Tree. I literally only have like a 12 by 12 piece of this wrapping paper that I saved from last year. I could only find one roll at Dollar Tree last year, and I don't like spending a lot on my craft supplies. I mean, I have 5 children, we have a tight budget, so this is my hobby. This is for fun. You know what I mean? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it to size. I made all my markings to size up the hat on the back of the paper. That way it doesn't show on the right side of the wrapping paper. And I'm going to wrap it like so. Now, in a perfect world, this would come out like this. Imagine if that came out like that. That would be amazing. Well, I hate to break it to you, but it didn't happen that way. So now I'm going to use some Mod Podge. And I'm going to put a very light amount of Mod Podge right in the center front of this hat. And I'm going to line up the paper to the center front of the hat, making sure to leave like a 3mm length right at the base so that we are able to push it down around to give it a seamless edge. So now I just go around little by little, about ½ an inch at a time, just adding a small amount of Mod Podge and pushing down the paper from the center out towards the edges. And I do this all around the entire circumference of the hat. Now, to hide the seam at the back of the hat, I decided to add some hot glue details. Now, these hot glue details are my favorite for adding a faux frosting effect. In the future, I do plan to buy some white hot glue so that I don't have to paint it. But this is an awesome alternative if you don't have lots of craft supplies, but you still want to get creative for your Christmas decor. So I'm going to just use some regular hot glue. Now for the very finicky detailed parts, I do use a detail tip Surebonder glue gun. That's the one I use, just the regular one with the cord. It's about $15 and it's really helpful for making all the small fine details on your projects. Like, you know, eyeballs, little buttons, as well as the frosted details that I'm going to add in just a bit. Once I had the whole surrounding Mod Podge, I just went in and pushed down the top rim and secured everything with Mod Podge. Then I took some more Mod Podge, a lot of Mod Podge, and I pushed down that rim all around the edge of the hat and took off the excess Mod Podge using the same paintbrush. Now you don't have to worry because Mod Podge dries clear. And I do seal this entire project so that it protects my paint job and doesn't chip. Now I go ahead and I add some more white paint on the back there of the gingerbread guy, as well as paint his chin, which I totally forgot. Now I don't paint his little teeth because personally it creeps me out. I don't know why, but Nutcracker's teeth always creep me out. But on your project, you can do whatever you like using a paint marker or using a fine tip paintbrush. Now I'm going to go in and paint some of these dot stickers with Treasure Gold paint. That's the name of the paint, and the color Mayan Gold. And I just paint about a whole bunch, a lot. So about 12. I paint about 12 of them for both projects coming up. Now this is the part where I use the detail tip glue gun, and I'm just going to slowly add this waffle pattern to his arms, and this is just going to give him a cute detail, making him frosted for Christmas. Now you want to keep, I only did 3 since it's just such a small project. You do want to take your time doing this part. Remember, if you mess up, it's totally fine. It'll just make it more charming. You want to take your time, and you want to make sure your hot glue is not too hot. So you want to do this right after you turn on your hot glue gun so that you have more control over the hot glue. If it's too runny, then you won't be able to control the shape of your frosting. So I go ahead and I do this all around one way. Then once that's nice and dry, you're going to go in and do the same thing perpendicular to the lines you made first. So just going the opposite direction, making an X formation. And if you have any glue strings, you want to wait for your glue to fully dry, take off the strings, and then go on to the next section. And I did this for both arms. I'm just going to show you one arm, but I did this for both arms. I also added more details all around the gingerbread because I think he's just so cute. So I did add some more frosting around his feet and around the base of this holder, as well as the top of his boot. Okay, so as you can see here, I added details to the bottom, kind of like a swirly pattern. The name of this pattern is not coming to me right now, frick frack. And then I just added 2 X's for the shoelaces on the boots, the buckles of the boots, like so. I also added some details at the top of his hat to cover that seam in the back. I made kind of that same pattern, the swirly pattern, and around the top of the hat. I also added more hot glue to the top of his shoulders to make it look like frosting was dripping off his shoulders. So cute. I think this is just so darling. I had a lot of fun creating this. So I hope you do give it a try. And it's not as intimidating as it looks. I know it looks intimidating, but just take your time and go step by step. And I'm telling you, it's so much fun. So now I'm taking the small paintbrush and I'm just painting in all of the hot glue details once they're fully dry. And when you do this, you want to try your best to not touch the project so that your paint job comes out neatly. What I mean is, don't press your paintbrush too much. You want to lightly touch the glue as to not make a mess. I mean, I did because I needed a break at this point. But it's okay. I just go in with the brown color after, and it's totally fine. Nobody will ever know that you made a little mess. And if you did, it's totally fine. I'm telling you, it just adds to the charm of it all. So I did this on all of the hot glue details, as well as the hat. So I just wanted it to look like frosting, so I just added more hot glue. And then after I did this, I decided to add more frosting, kind of like a layered frosting effect. And I really like how it turned out. Once that was fully dry, I painted that top as well. Now I think all that we have left is his eyeballs, if I'm not mistaken. So this is where I'm touching up all of my mistakes with a small paintbrush and the coffee latte color of brown. And it's super simple to do. I was using more of a square tip for this part so I can get into the corners. I used a flat squared paintbrush. And it was not that bad. You never want to press too much on your paintbrush. You want to keep it, lightly tap it, so you can control the amount of paint that's coming off your paintbrush. I'm not an expert artist. I'm just sharing some tips and tricks I learned the hard way so that it's easier for you. If you have any tips and tricks and you are an artist, please let me know in the comments below. I am so open to any suggestions and tips for crafting. We'd all appreciate it in the comments below. If you have anything to add or suggestions how to make this project cuter, I am so open to hear your point of view. I would love that if you shared it in the comments below. So now I'm using the same little stickers. I just painted them black in that licorice color and used some E6000 and a bamboo stick to glue them in place. And now I'm going to use some more that we painted in gold, and I left a little strip on there so that it looks like it's part of a lapel on a jacket. And I think it looks so, if it looks so cute one more time, oh my goodness. But I don't know what else to say. This is how he turned out. Let me know what you think about him. I love my little Gingy. I love him. Okay, so now I needed to add a little tiny bit more. And this is going to help hide that little area where we popped off the rifle. So this is just a little embellishment. It's not even that big of a deal. I just wanted to add more cuteness. I took some of the same baker's twine, the red and white baker's twine, and I'm going to attach two of the pieces together by knotting them. Now I'm going to add some of these little embellishments. I got these off bbcraft.com. I'll share them in the link. I'll link them in the description box below if you're interested in these. They're silicone, so you do have to use E6000 to adhere them. Hot glue will not work. So I just think they're so cute. They're little cookies. There's gingerbread, there's trees, Christmas trees, there's stars, there's a whole bunch. So I'm going to have so much fun using these for my upcoming projects. I'll link them below if you're interested in purchasing these. So I just used some E6000 behind it and then added the string right in the center. I didn't want to waste too many of them. I didn't want to use too many of them because I only have this one little packet and I have lots of gingerbread plans for the holidays. Then I took this peppermint candy bead I got off Amazon. I'll also link it below if you're interested, and just added it behind. So that's what it looks like, and they're just hanging off his shoulder. Let me know what you think about him. I think he turned out so stinking cute, guys. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, let me know in the comments below what you think about him. Okay, there's something about gingerbread that is just so charming to me for the holidays. I think it's because they remind me of my children. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you think about him. Now for this next project, we're going to take the Nutcracker and we're going to cut off the sword using I use my miter shears to cut off the sword. I wanted to leave the base of the sword, but not the actual blade of the sword. So we chopped it off with the miter shears. Now I'm going to paint the Nutcracker using the same gingerbread brown color, coffee latte, as well as the bottom of his coat in this bright green color, same colors as before. And his face, I used the color called Hazy Brown. No. For his face, I used the color called Hazy Moon by FolkArt. I'm also going to paint his cuffs in white, as well as the top of his pants and the rest of his chin in the same hazy moon color. I like the hazy moon color because it reminds me of buttercream, so that's why I picked that color. And I don't actually have any skin tone. I could have mixed it, but I just didn't want to. Okay, I also painted his hands in the same hazy moon color. So now I'm taking the same paper, the same little piece of paper, and I'm gonna put it up against his legs so that I see the length they need to be. I make a little mark, a little tiny bit longer than what I think his legs are gonna be. And then I use the paper cutter to just cut them to size. Once I have the first cut made, I go ahead and I use that first rectangle as a template to cut the second rectangle. And that way both legs are the same length. Okay, so when I adhere these, I start between his legs so that the seam is not visible. And I feel like that's very important on this project. I want this to look as high-end and boutique as possible, so the little details like hiding seams is very important in my opinion. All right, so now I'm going to take some Mod Podge, the same dishwasher safe Mod Podge, and a very soft brush, and I'm going to lightly paint his legs. So I'm only going to show you one leg because it's the same for both legs. But I just took a paintbrush and I painted the Mod Podge on. Once we have a little tiny section painted, we're going to go ahead and put it on into place. And by this point, you should have painted the bottom of his jacket as well in that green color, because painting it after is kind of finicky. Ask me how I know. So now I'm using the back of my paintbrush to push down the paper between his legs. Then I'm just going to go little by little, section by section, and just press down the paper gently. This paper is not thick at all. So if you press too hard and if you have too much Mod Podge, it will rip your paper. So you want to press it firmly, but not too hard. You want to have a nice balance there. Make it nice and flat, but be very gentle. It's $1.25 paper. All right, so then I pushed the paper between his legs so that it would meet the seam where we started, and using the back of the paintbrush, I made a little beveled edge so I know where to cut. And then I just Mod Podged the edge of the seam with the paintbrush, making nice seamless transition. And that's how it looks. Let me know what you think about his little legs. Now, if you don't know by now, I'm extra, okay? So I wanted to add more details to his jacket. So I took the little stripes from the candy cane pattern and I cut off most of the white around the white stripes. And now I'm just going to Mod Podge it to the front of his jacket just to make it more special. And I used the paper cutter to cut it down, and I Mod Podged them in place like so. Now this part is a little bit finicky because there is a rounded edge on his jacket. It's not too obvious until you try to Mod Podge something to it. So just be mindful, start in the center when you line it up, and it should be fine. But this part was kind of finicky for me, and my OCD was kicking in. But just have fun with it. So once I had that on and in position, lined up properly, I just Mod Podged it and then cleaned up any excess Mod Podge with a zip tie, because I didn't want the Nutcracker's chin getting stuck, so that piece could still operate properly. And then I went in and did the same exact thing with the cuff. Now there was a little bit of a wrinkle on the cuff, so I just cut it in the center to make it look like an actual cuff. And that's how I remedied that little part. Then I used more of that treasure gold color by FolkArt, and I painted in his belt. And then I went in and painted all of the details, making sure to move that little handle out of the way. And yeah, so just take your time. And this for me is crafting therapy. It's just a nice relaxing way to think about my day, reflect, pray to God. This is just a nice time where I have some quiet time. I usually do this at night and in the early morning or on weekends during the day. So now I go ahead and I paint the back of the handle in the same gold color. All right, so now I'm going to take some more hot glue and I'm going to add it to the shoulders just like I did for our little Gingy dude and let it drip. Now the hot glue is very, very hot and it's very finicky when it's very hot. So I recommend letting your hot glue gun cool a little bit and then trying this, because I had to move this guy around so that the hot glue could be more controlled. So that's why you see me moving him around so that the hot glue goes where I want it to go. Now, extra guys, I'm extra. I can't even explain it. I'm making an apron out of hot glue. So I made a stripe right under his belt, and then I just put a little bit of a dot under that stripe, and I let the hot glue run over the edges. Once it started to set, then I picked him up and stood him up upright for it to drip downward, just to make a little hot glue apron. I know, guys, I know. Okay, so I'm making him into a Nutcracker gingerbread chef. So that's why he has an apron. Once the hot glue details are dry, I go in just like before with the wicker white color, and I'm just going to paint it. And I wanted it to look caked on, so I put a lot of layers on top to kind of make it look clumpy and give it that frosting effect. And I did that all around the top of the boots as well. And I painted the apron and the rim of his hat. Now his hat, we're going to be using some ribbon on his hat to continue that pattern, and I'll show you how to make the chef's hat in a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, I painted the base and I made sure that the colors were inverted to the gingerbread's base, the gingerbread dude's base. Okay, so then as you can see, I'm just painting in the details on his shoe. I added some frosting with hot glue and then I painted it. And then I added some more frosting at the bottom of this stand and then I painted it. It's very simple. I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's frosting. All right, so this is the part where I'm making his little tray because he's going to be a chef holding the little gingies. So I'm going to take a wide craft stick and I'm just going to cut it with my miter shears. Now I'm taking 2 tumbling tower blocks and I'm just hot gluing them together like so. Now I'm going to hot glue the wide popsicle stick rectangle to fit right in there, leaving about a 2 millimeter gap all around the edges of this to form a tray. Now I'm taking more of the craft stick and I'm just going to size it up, measure it, eyeball it to the edge of the tray. And then I cut it in half once I have that length. This is going to be the edges of our tray. So I just cut the beveled edge, 45-degree angle with this miter shear. This miter shear is so handy. If you don't have one, I suggest you invest in one whenever you can. I mean, little by little, you can build your craft supply arsenal. I don't think it's good to go and just splurge and buy all this stuff. I mean, it's stressful on the budget. So just take your time. I think once a month, buy one new item if you can. If not, every 3 months, it's fine, whatever you can do. And I just did the same thing for the other side of the tray. I sped this up because this is not like, the most important part. So you can see what I'm doing, but I'm not measuring. This is just me creating. You could use wood glue as well if you want this to be more stable. But I'm just jimmying up a tray. I'm just, this is not standard procedure, people. But I'm having fun here. So as you can see, the wood with the hot glue, you could totally pop it off after. I use Gorilla hot glue, but wood glue is best on raw wood. Okay, so then once that was done, I added some hot glue to the edges to make it look like it was welded together and to hide all my imperfections. And now I'm just using some sandpaper to make all the edges nice and even and smooth. Once that was done, I painted the whole tray in this metal color. It's called Brushed Silver by FolkArt. and I did all of the tray, all the sides and everything. Now in a little bit, I add a little bit more detail with that same paper, and I just Mod Podged it. I'm not going to show you the whole process. I'm just going to show you me just sticking it on. But sorry about that. I was out of frame. I was really into this project, as you can tell. I also added some more hot glue on the edge off the tray to make it look like frosting was coming off the edge of the tray. But this is after I just hot glue these little peppermint features on the edges of the tray. And then I added some more to the middle of his apron just to make him more decorative. And I would even add more. I just ran out of time because I'm a busy mom of 5. If you don't know, thank you so much for being here. I don't have a lot of time for this. And this took a lot of time. This took like 3 days to make, just in little intervals. And as you can see, I just filled in that little frosting that was coming off the tray. And now I'm gonna add the Nutcracker's gums. I didn't paint the teeth because they creep me out personally. And I don't understand. I use the color Ballet Pink. I don't understand why all these gingerbread have gingivitis. Like, why? Maybe it's all the sugar. I'm not sure, but I didn't want to use that hot pink. It creeps me out. They creep me out, people. Oh my gosh, it's a thing. It's a thing over here. For me, it gets serious. Okay, so now I just had this ribbon on hand. I got this from like a gift box from like a baby gift, and I didn't throw it out because I plan to use it for a quiet book for my baby. So it has like Velcro on it. I was like, this is perfect. I'm not throwing this out. So I'm just using a section of it because this is the perfect width ribbon in white. So now I'm just using some hot glue to create a pleated edge. I'm sorry I'm out of frame. I was really into it, guys. I get back in frame in a little bit. But just create a pleated edge. And I did it for the full length of the hat. I just made sure to measure it against the hat of the Nutcracker to make sure that it was the full length. And I wanted it to overlap about 1/2 inch at the back of the hat. So you just want to keep creating edge on one side of the ribbon. So I put the hot glue about 1 inch away from the last pleat and then fold back 1/2 inch. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I hope you can find a better tutorial on the pleat with hot glue. My mother would be so ashamed that I'm using hot glue on a pleat. My mother worked in the fashion industry, so she would just be like, I can just teach you how to sew a pleat. But it's fine, Mom. It's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to paint the top of the hat because I totally forgot to paint the top of the hat. And I made sure to go all around the rim as well and not get paint on the ribbon. Okay, once that was semi-dry, I went in and I just hot glued the bottom. We start with the bottom of the ribbon. The pleated edge of the ribbon, we are going to hot glue the pleated edge of the ribbon to the base of the hat, as close to that rim as possible. And we're just going to hot glue it carefully using little bits of hot glue at a time, tapping it down to place. Now I'm going to cut off the excess of the ribbon and kind of create a faux seam with the hot glue. Be careful, be very careful. It can get very hot and dangerous at this point. But a detail tip glue gun would be good for this, but I ran out of glue sticks. So I had to use my big full-size glue gun because it's real life around here. And then once the bottom was attached, I just went in and I hot glued only a little tiny section of the top rim at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock first. So I hot glued those, I pinned those 4 corners down first. Now I'm going to make this fancy little pleat. Don't know what it's called. But I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue on each edge. So then I flatten it to give it that chef hat look. And I also pressed it into the edge. I try to keep everything nice and straight, just to give it the wrinkles, the proper wrinkles that the chef hat needs. And I mean, you could do this, or you could just use a sock and just hot glue it on top. Like a little baby sock might work. if you don't want to go through all this trouble. I mean, if it's your project, you could do whatever you want. You don't, have to. But I thought this grain ribbon was perfect. It gives that elegant Christmas decor feel. Now I took another one of these. I think these are an inch or an inch and a quarter with peppermint candy bead, and I thought that it would look cute here. But let me know in the comments below if you would even add this to the top. I thought it was really fun, but I didn't want to take away because I feel like he already had a lot going on, if you know what I mean. So, oh my goodness, I finally used my Cricut. Can you believe it? Guys, it's been almost a year. And I've tried playing with the Cricut, but it's like so difficult and like stressful for me. It's not even fun. So I was so happy I was able to do this. Now this is Dollar Tree vinyl, nothing fancy. And I just used my Cricut and I searched the word Nutcracker, and then I found a Nutcracker. I do pay for Cricut Design Space, so I need to use my Cricut, guys, because I need to offset that cost. So I went in and I just cut all these little details in these 4 colors, all this vinyls from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to use a little weeding tool from Dollar Tree as well. I have the Cricut one. It's here somewhere. I don't know where, but whatever. Dollar Tree has really cool Cricut supplies as well, so that's what I'm using. And I just looked at the picture on Cricut Design Space as a guide, and it told me it showed me exactly where I should position this stuff, and that's what I did. I just put them in place, but I think it makes it look so professional. You could totally do this with an X-Acto knife if you don't have a Cricut. It would just take a lot of time. But if you have it and you have the patience, or you could just paint it on if you have paint pens. I don't have paint pens yet, so I just opted to use what I had on hand. All right, so then I just used some of the same dishwasher safe Mod Podge and a soft paintbrush, and I just sealed his entire face. But isn't he cute? Oh, he makes me happy. Okay, so now I took more of the gold stickers, and sometimes the paint does accumulate on the edges, but they easily crack off. So, I mean, not a big deal, just cracks off. And then I did leave the strip on because we're going to be putting it on his jacket, just like before. I opted to put 3 on one side, and then I think 2 on the other side because the tray was blocking his jacket. And I did use E6000 to secure it down because I just know myself. If I don't do it now and this falls off, I'm not going to do it later. So I just prefer to do this right now since I'm here anyways. Use some E6000 to protect the project, and then I sealed everything with Mod Podge. And if you haven't noticed, I'm extra by now. I even had to put the one under his tray, guys. What is wrong with me? Oh my goodness. And I had to make sure it was level. Oh my goodness. I can't deal with me. I can't deal with me. Okay. So now I had a feather on hand, and I took this little feather. I could only find one, and I thought it'd be perfect for his hair because it was kind of bushy. So this feather was just floating around. So it got perfectly bushy in my stash. Yeah, so then I went ahead and I just hot glued them with a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of hot glue right in the middle of that feather. And that's what I did. I trimmed it down, and then I covered the little line on the feather. So apparently you say it roches. The little line on a feather is called a roches. I just Googled it for you guys. So fun fact. It's a roches, the little line in a feather. So I covered that with some more of the feather, the little pieces that left over, because I didn't want to see that roches. It looks wretched. All right, so then I used a little bit of more of those gingerbread cookies from BB Craft. They're so adorable. Like, they just make me happy looking at these little tiny gingerbread cookies, and they're frosted. Oh, I love this. Anyways, I just added 5 of them to the tray. You already know why I added 5, but I think it would be really cute as well if you just lay them flat on the tray. I made an ornament last year where I laid gingerbread flat on a tray, and it was adorable. So I just wanted to switch things up and have these little gingerbread standing. And also I needed to fit 5 on this tray. So that's what I did. And One of them was kind of like deformed, so I had to use my miter shear to cut it because it's very thick silicone and a scissor will not work. So just be careful. And yeah, that's how it turned out. But let me know in the comments below what you think about this guy. I think he's adorable. He just makes me smile. He's so cute. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today, getting creative and fun with these frosted decor creations. I want to thank you so much for being here and supporting my channel. You guys mean the world to me. Say hi in the comments below because I'd love to hear from you. A special thank you to Moxie DIY in Java, DIY from house to home, MB Gray Designs, Rustic and Lace DIY, and DD's Art Shop for participating with me. Be sure to check out the playlist link linked below in my comment box. As always, friends, take care, God bless, catch you on the next one. Bye! If you like this video, here's another one you might enjoy.